You may have seen the viral cottage cheese chip, but this one is a game changer. The first thing you'll need is a small bowl, or as I'm using here, a mason jar. I prefer the mason jar because what happens is, as you see here, it's nice and snug. That allows for a good mix without air cavitation. But now for the ingredients. First, you'll need some small curd cottage cheese. Now, a low moisture cottage cheese is the best, but don't worry about it if you can't find one. I will show you a trick here in a minute that will take care of that problem. Now, we'll need 1/2 cup cottage cheese for this recipe. And while I'm at the end of my tub, that's actually a good thing because you tend to get more moisture at the bottom, which will help out when I show you the trick here in a minute. First, you do not want to fill your 1/2 cup all the way to the top. You want to leave some room, because then you're going to take a strainer and press on top of the cottage cheese. As you see here, a lot of the moisture is coming out. And I'll admit, this can be a bit messy, but it equals a consistent recipe every time, which is most important. Now we'll need to replace what we squeezed out, so go ahead and top it off, but this time make sure it's a little above the rim. This will ensure we get a full 1/2 cup for this recipe. This is what you should end up with. You'll see pockets of air, which is what you want. Now go ahead and add that to your mason jar. Next, we'll need some liquid egg whites, and we'll be adding 1/3 cup. Next, we'll need egg white powder, and I can see the comment section lighten up. It's too expensive. But please check out my video, Is Egg White Powder Better?, before jumping to that conclusion. Now you're going to need 1 tablespoon egg white powder. Now this next ingredient, it's optional, and if you don't have it, you can go ahead and use an additional tablespoon of egg white powder, but I highly recommend using a tablespoon of cheddar cheese powder. Next, you'll need 1 tablespoon salted butter, and we're going to go ahead and get this heated up, so go ahead and place it in a microwavable dish and heat it for approximately 20 seconds. Now add the melted butter to the mason jar, and it's time to get out that immersion blender. Now when using your immersion blender, I found the best technique, especially for this recipe, is to actually push it down, go from left to right on each side of the jar. This will actually push it up one side and down the next, giving you a nice, smooth, creamy consistency, like this. And yes, it does look like nacho cheese, but guys, do not put this on your nachos. Next, we'll need a silicone muffin pan, and also we'll need a piping bag, but you don't necessarily have to have a piping bag. You can use a regular bag, and these are some bags that I have found that work wonderful. They are very inexpensive, and this is the bag I use the most. As a matter of fact, let's go ahead and use them right now. Now here's a use you might not have thought of for your NutriBullet or Ninja Cup. It holds your bag perfectly. Now go ahead and transfer your mixture. Oh, and did I mention these cheap bags actually come with a twist tie, so I like to go ahead and twist this up and give it a wrap to hold it in place. But make sure you take the ties and push them up to the top. That way they don't punch a hole in the lower bag. Now cut a small hole in the end of the bag. Careful not to cut it too big. You only want about this much coming out of the end. Now when you go to transfer this, you're going to put about a dime to a nickel size, depending on how thick you want the chip. For best results, go ahead and use a fork. You're going to take the fork and run it back and forth like this. Once you've run it back and forth across, say, the first row, then you're going to go and use a circular motion to go ahead and spread this out properly. Once you've done that to all the pockets, you want to go ahead and just drop it on the counter to help level it. Now it's time to get it in the microwave. For my 1000 watt microwave, I used a quick 2-minute cycle, and it works perfect. Now go ahead and remove them from the microwave. And guys, when you remove them from the microwave, they should be crispy right then. If they're not cooked long enough. And look at these. You're going to absolutely love this recipe. It's so quick and easy and virtually impossible to mess up. Guys, thanks so much for watching. And as always, I will see you in the next video.